Hello everyone, it's Mr. Pierce. Today we're going to be talking about comparing and ordering numbers. One of the ways you've probably done this in the past is by using a place value chart. So we can see I have one drawn here. So we are comparing the two numbers 675 and 685. So in the past you've probably learned that we could plug them into the place value chart. We would put the 6, which is in the hundreds here, so we'd go 675. And then underneath, we could put the 685. Now, when we look at them, the first place that we notice they are different is in the tens place. So we can simply ask, which is larger, 7 tens or 8 tens? Well, obviously, 8 tens would be larger. So we would draw our sign this way, and we would read this as 675 is less than 685. Now we have a second problem. We have 5,299, 5,901. So again, if we plug them in, the 5 is in the thousands place. So the first one would be 5,299, and then 5,901. The first place that we notice they are different is right here. Okay, when we read numbers from left to right, the first place that we notice they are different is in the hundreds place. So all we really have to say is which is larger, 200s or 900s? Of course, the answer would be 900s. So we would put our sign like this, and we would read this as 5,299 is less than 5,901. Now we have two larger numbers. The first one says 300,001, and the second one says 299,999. Again, when we look at them, we can place them into the place value chart. This 3 is, of course, in the hundred thousands place. So I would write that in there. That would be 300,001. And the other one we can put underneath of it would be 299,999. So, the first place that we notice when we read them from left to the right that they are different is in the hundred thousands place. So right away we know that 300,000 is bigger than 200,000. So we would put our sign this way, and this would read 300,001 is greater than 299,999. Here we have several other problems, but I did not write a place value chart. So what we can do is we can look at the numbers and compare them one place at a time. So looking at the first one, we see a 6 in the hundreds place. We see a 6 in the hundreds place. Well, that doesn't help us a whole lot to determine which one is larger. So we go to the tens place. This one has a 0 in the tens place, and this one has a 1 in the tens place. Last time I knew 1 was bigger than 0, so we would put it this way, and we would read this as 609 is less than 619. Okay, following that same strategy, going to the next one, let's look first of all in the hundreds. Here we have 700s, here we have 700s. That does not help us a whole lot. So we go to the tens place, and that's where we notice they are different. This one again has a 0 in the tens place, and this one again has a 1 in the tens place. Last time I knew 1 is larger than 0, so we put our sign this way, and we read this as 703 is less than 713. Going down to the third one, starting in now the thousands place. This one has 5,000, this one has 5,000. This one has a 2 in the hundreds place, and this one has an 8 in the hundreds place. Last time I knew 8 was larger. We put our sign this way, and we read this as 5,284 is less than 5,824. Going down to the next one, we read it as 384,121 and 384,221. So if we compare them a place at a time, we will notice here's a 3 in the hundred thousands. Here's a 3 in the hundred thousands. Excuse me. 8 10,000s, 8 10,000s. 4,000, 4,000. 1 in the hundreds, 2 in the hundreds. Clearly 2 is larger than 1, so I put my sign this way. Okay, remember the alligator always wants the bigger meal. So 384,121 is less than 384,221. Okay, let's try a couple more. Okay, the first number says 7,800,001. The second number says 7,799,999. Ooh, might be a toughie. Let's see. Let's start, of course, in the millions. Here we have 7 million. Here we have 7 million. Well, that's not very helpful. So let's go to the next digit. Here we have 800,000. Here we have 700,000. Well, I know 8 is larger than 7. I do not need to go any farther. I'm going to put my sign this way. Okay, and I would read this as 7,800,001 is greater than 7,799,999. On to the next one. We'll start, of course, in the hundred millions place. Okay, so we're going to look right here. This is 500 million. This is 500 million. After that, of course, we have the 10 millions. This is 0 10 millions. This is 0 10 millions. Well, that's still not very helpful. So I get to the millions place. Here I have 1 million. Here I have 0 in the millions. So clearly 1 million is bigger than 0 million. So I put it this way, and I read this as 501 million is greater than 500,997,653. The next one. The first one says 8 million. Well, if we think about what we've learned, we know that these numbers are in the ones period. These are in the thousands. And this 8 is, of course, in the millions. So it just so happens that these two are the same. So we would read this as 8 million is equal to 8 million. Okay? The next one. A little bit harder to maybe determine. The first one says, well, if you can't read it, you should be able to though. But we should know this is the ones, the thousands, and the millions. So we should know right away, just looking at these two, that this one right here is larger because it says billion. And billions are bigger than millions. Okay, so we would put our sign this way. And we would read this as 599,999,999 is less than 6 billion. The next thing we're going to work on is ordering numbers. Okay, so in this case, we could go either least to greatest or greatest to least. Let's say that I want to go from the greatest to the least. Well, one strategy that I remember my 5th grade teacher teaching me was to stack the numbers. So if we do that, we write them right over top of each other, 894, 984, 489, and 948. By stacking them, we can then compare each digit. So when I look at the left, all the way to the left of each number, I see an 8, a 9, a 4, and a 9 right here in that column. Okay, in this column right here. Okay, so this column right here. So what I'm trying to do, I said I wanted to go from the greatest to the least. So I have two numbers that both begin with a 9. So if I'm going to do these two numbers, these are going to be my two largest ones. Which is larger? 984, 948. Well, clearly the 984 is. So I'm going to put that as my first number, 984. And then it's going to go 948. Now, I've used both of those, so now I go to the next number. Which is the next largest, 894 or 489? Clearly it is 894, and then 489. I'm going to use the same stacking strategy, and this time I want to go from the least to the greatest. Least to the greatest. So let me stack them over top of each other. 5, 2, 3, 4. 4, 5, 3, 2. 5, 4, 3, 2. So when I look at these, if If I start over in the left column, which just happens to be, this is the left column, the thousands place, I can easily see which one is the smallest out of those. Two of them have a 5 in the thousands, one has a 4. So I know the 4,532 is the smallest. So now I have to determine which of the next two is, which is the next smallest. 5,234 or 5,432. I will notice that right here in the hundreds, this has a 4 and this has a 2. 2 is obviously smaller than 4. So 5,234 is the next smallest. And then finally, 5,432. All right, one final one. I'm going to do the same stacking strategy. So I'm going to write the first number on top, 521,384. Then underneath of that, I'm going to write 512,438. And underneath of that, I'm going to write the 5,619,235. Now, if I want to do these numbers from the least to the greatest, obviously, this one right here is going to be the largest number. I know that already. So if I'm going least to greatest, I'm going to compare the two numbers up above. We will notice they both have a 5 in the hundred thousands. We then go to the 10,000s, and this has two 10,000s. This has one 10,000. So I'm going least to greatest. I know that 1 is smaller than 2. So I'm going to go 512,438. Okay, then my next number would be the 521,384. And finally, the 5,619,235 would be the largest. Okay, so today's lesson, comparing and ordering. I know you can do a great job with it. Soon we will be doing it with decimals, which I find to be a lot of fun. So do your best.